You don't need years to change your life. You need 6 focused months. 6 months of choosing growth over attention. 6 months of discipline over distraction. 6 months of silence over noise. Most people never give themselves that. They try to improve while staying visible. They want transformation without disappearing. They want results while still scrolling, still explaining, still reacting. And that's why nothing changes. Real change requires distance. Distance from validation, distance from comparison, distance from the constant need to prove something. Because the truth is simple. If you focus on yourself for 6 months, deeply, intentionally, relentlessly, you will shock everyone. Not because you tried to impress them, but because you stopped trying to. Right now, most people are living externally. They measure their progress by likes. They measure their value by attention. They measure their success by visibility, but growth doesn't happen in public. It happens in silence. It happens when nobody is clapping, when nobody is watching, when nobody believes anything is happening. 6 months is long enough to rebuild your body, long enough to sharpen your mind, long enough to develop a skill that separates you from average, but only if those 6 months are focused, not half-focused, not motivated for a week and distracted for 3, not trying when it feels right. Focused. If you gave 2 undistracted hours a day to one meaningful goal, that's over 360 hours in 6 months. That's not motivation, that's momentum, that's identity shift. Most people underestimate what 6 months can do because they've never experienced 6 months of real consistency. They've experienced bursts, they've experienced hype, they've experienced temporary discipline, but they've never experienced sustained focus. And that's the difference while they're talking about what they plan to do. You're building. While they're announcing goals, you're executing. While they're debating, comparing, reacting, you're improving. Quietly. This is not about becoming obsessed with work. It's about becoming aligned with growth. It's not about isolating yourself from the world. It's about isolating yourself from distraction. There's a difference. 6 months of intentional focus means you protect your time, you control your emotions, you strengthen your body, you upgrade your thinking, you finish what you start, you build something that compounds, and when you do that long enough, something powerful happens. You stop needing validation, you stop explaining yourself, you stop reacting to every comment, every opinion, every comparison, because you're too busy building. And here's what most people don't realize. The shock doesn't come from sudden success. It comes from visible consistency. People are shocked not because you became lucky. They're shocked because you became disciplined. They're shocked because you disappeared long enough to transform. 6 months from now, if you stay distracted, nothing changes. 6 months from now, if you stay reactive, nothing changes. But 6 months from now, if you commit to focused improvement, daily, quietly, deliberately, your standards rise. Your body changes. Your confidence changes. Your skill level changes. Your mindset changes. And when your standards rise, your environment begins to shift. You no longer tolerate mediocrity. You no longer tolerate excuses. You no longer tolerate the version of yourself that used to settle. That's when people start saying, "You've changed." And they're right, you have. But the real victory isn't shocking them, it's recognizing yourself in the mirror and knowing you built this. Not overnight, not by accident, not because someone saved you, because you chose to focus. For 6 months. This audiobook is not about motivation, it's about direction. Over the next hour, we're going to break down exactly what focusing on yourself for 6 months truly means. Mentally, physically, emotionally, and strategically. Not theory, not hype. Structure. Because you don't need more inspiration, you need a plan. 6 months from today, you can still be explaining why things haven't worked. Or you can be unrecognizable. The choice starts now. Stop performing. Start transforming. Chapter 1. Disappear from distraction. If you want to shock everyone in 6 months, the first thing you must do is disappear, not from your responsibilities, not from your goals, but from distraction. Because distraction is the real enemy of transformation. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because their attention is constantly divided. Every notification, every message, every trending topic, every comparison, your focus is being auctioned every day. And most people give it away for free. You cannot rebuild yourself while constantly consuming everyone else. You cannot sharpen your edge while drowning in noise. You cannot create a new identity while feeding the old one every single hour. Disappearing is not weakness, it is strategy. When you disappear from distraction, 3 things begin to happen. First, your thoughts become clearer. Second, your standards become visible. Third, your time becomes yours again. Right now, your attention is fragmented. Fragmented attention produces fragmented results. You work, but you check your phone. You read, but you switch tabs. You plan, but you react to messages. That is not focus. That is scattered effort, and scattered effort never compounds. 6 months of scattered effort looks like nothing. 6 months of concentrated effort looks like reinvention. The difference is not talent, it is protection. You must protect your focus like your future depends on it. Because it does. Think about this. If you removed just 3 distractions from your life, 3 things that quietly drain your time, how much space would that create? For most people, it's social media overuse. For others, it's constant group chats. For some, it's news cycles, gossip, comparison. None of these things are evil, but all of them are expensive. They cost clarity, they cost depth, they cost momentum. When you decide to focus on yourself for 6 months, you must become selective. Selective about what enters your mind. Selective about who has access to your time. Selective about where your energy goes. Here's the uncomfortable truth. If everyone can reach you at any time, you will never build anything rare. Rare skill requires rare focus, and rare focus requires boundaries. There was a period in my life where I believed being available meant being responsible. I answered quickly. I showed up everywhere. I responded to everything. I felt productive, but I wasn't progressing. My days were full, yet my results were empty. It wasn't until I began turning things off, not forever, just intentionally, that I felt momentum. Silence created space. Space created depth. Depth created improvement, and improvement created confidence. When you disappear from distraction, you stop performing your life and start building it. Performance is external. Building is internal. Performance wants visibility. Building wants progress. You cannot optimize both at the same time. For the next 6 months, choose building. That means creating focused blocks in your day that are sacred. No phone, no tabs, no interruptions. Even 2 hours of undisturbed focus daily can shift your trajectory. At first, it will feel uncomfortable. Your mind will crave stimulation. You will feel the urge to check something, to see something, to respond to something. That urge is addiction to distraction, and like any addiction, it weakens when you resist it consistently. Discipline is not dramatic. It is quiet refusal. Refusal to react, refusal to indulge every impulse, refusal to trade long-term growth for short-term stimulation. Most people fear disappearing because they think they'll be forgotten. But being constantly visible without growth is worse. It locks you into a stagnant identity. If people always see the same version of you, they expect the same version of you. Disappearing gives you permission to evolve. 6 months is long enough for physical change, long enough for mental clarity, long enough for skill development, but only if you reduce input. You cannot build a stronger mind while feeding it endless noise. You cannot sharpen your thinking while consuming shallow content for hours. You cannot deepen your skill while constantly interrupting yourself. Every interruption resets momentum. Every reset costs time. And over months, those small resets become massive delays. While others are refreshing timelines, you are refining yourself. While they react, you rehearse. While they scroll, you study. This is not about isolation. It's about intention. You don't need to delete the world. You need to schedule the world. There is a difference. Allocate specific windows for communication. Allocate specific windows for consumption. And protect your creation time like it is non-negotiable. Because it is. In 6 months, nobody will remember how fast you replied to messages. But they will notice if you've transformed. They will notice if your body is stronger. They will notice if your confidence is calmer. They will notice if your skill level has quietly doubled, and they will wonder when it happened. It happened when you disappeared. It happened when you stopped announcing. It happened when you decided that attention was less valuable than improvement. Distraction feels harmless in the moment, but over time, it erodes potential. Focus feels difficult in the moment, but over time, it builds power. You are not lacking ability. You are leaking attention. Close the leaks. Guard your hours. Protect your mind. Disappear from distraction. Not forever, but long enough to rebuild. Because if you truly want to shock everyone in 6 months, the first move is simple. Stop being everywhere. Start being intentional. And watch what happens when your energy finally has one direction. Chapter 2. Reclaim 180 days. 6 months sounds short when you say it quickly, but 6 months is nearly 180 days, and 180 days, used correctly, is enough to change your trajectory permanently. The problem is not that people don't have time. The problem is that they don't own their time. They react to it. They fill it. They spend it unconsciously. Then they say, "I've been busy." Busy is not the same as productive. Occupied is not the same as progressing. If you want to shock everyone in 6 months, you must reclaim your days, all 180 of them. Right now, your life is shaped by how you use your hours, not your intentions, not your plans, your hours. 2 focused hours per day for 180 days equals 360 hours. 3 hours per day equals 540 hours. That's the equivalent of months of deep practice, months of deliberate skill building, and months of training your body, months of studying, building, refining. Most people don't realize how powerful this is because they've never applied time consistently in one direction. They scatter it. One week they're motivated. Next week they're distracted. Then they restart. Momentum dies in inconsistency. Time only compounds when it's protected. Look at your average day honestly. How much of it is intentional? How much of it is reactive? You wake up and check your phone. You respond before you think. You consume before you create. Your energy is spent before your goals even get attention. Reclaiming 180 days starts with reclaiming your mornings. The first hour of your day sets the psychological tone. If your first action is reaction, you've already surrendered control. But if your first action is creation, reading, training, planning, building, you establish dominance over your time. And dominance creates confidence. There was a man I once spoke with who felt stuck in his career for years. He believed he needed a new opportunity, a new company, a new environment, a new boss. But when he broke down his schedule, he realized something uncomfortable. He had 2 unstructured hours every evening. 2 hours that disappeared into television, scrolling, and passive consumption. He decided to use those 2 hours differently. Every single weekday for 6 months, he studied a new technical skill. No announcements, no dramatic lifestyle change. No social media updates. Just 2 quiet hours. At first, nothing changed. After 1 month, nothing visible changed. After 3 months, he felt sharper. After 6 months, he had built enough competence to qualify for roles he previously thought were unreachable. His external life changed because his internal investment changed. Not overnight. Over 180 days. You don't need extreme measures. You need structured repetition. Reclaiming your time means auditing it. Track your day for 1 week. Where does it leak? How many micro-interruptions occur? How many times do you switch tasks? Each switch costs energy. Each interruption delays mastery. Most people never experience depth because they never stay in one cognitive lane long enough. Deep work builds identity. Shallow activity builds exhaustion. If you commit to focusing on yourself for 6 months, structure becomes your ally. Decide in advance. What skill will you build? What physical goal will you pursue? What mental discipline will you practice? And then assign hours to it. Non-negotiable hours. Think of your future self as someone you owe. If you were paying someone to improve your life, would you let them waste half their shift scrolling? Number. Then stop letting yourself do it. Another key to reclaiming 180 days is reducing decision fatigue. Plan your weeks, plan your workouts, plan your study blocks. When decisions are automated, execution becomes easier. Most people burn energy deciding whether to work. Disciplined people conserve energy for working. There's a difference. 6 months of scattered decision-making feels chaotic. 6 months of structured routine feels powerful. Structure is not restriction. It is freedom from randomness. And randomness is the enemy of transformation. Imagine it clearly. 6 months from now, if you maintain your current habits, what changes? So probably very little. But if you invest just 2 or 3 focused hours daily into one meaningful direction, what becomes possible? New body composition, new skill level, new financial opportunity, new self-perception. Time is neutral. It does not reward potential. It rewards consistency. Many people believe they need motivation to stay consistent. They don't. They need clarity. Clarity about why these 180 days matter. Clarity about what they are building. Clarity about who they want to become. When clarity is strong, excuses weaken. And here's something most people misunderstand. You don't need to maximize every hour. You need to protect specific hours. Trying to optimize your entire day leads to burnout. Protecting 2 or 3 sacred hours creates progress without exhaustion. Consistency over intensity, that's how time compounds. If you protect 180 days, something subtle happens. Your identity shifts from someone who tries to someone who executes. And once that shift happens, confidence rises naturally. Not because you feel inspired, but because you have evidence. Evidence that you show up. Evidence that you finish. Evidence that you build. In 6 months, people may say you got lucky. They may say things worked out for you. They didn't see the 180 early mornings. They didn't see the focused evenings. They didn't see the repetitions. But you did, and that's enough. Reclaiming 180 days is not glamorous. It's repetitive. It's quiet. It's disciplined. But repetition builds skill. Skill builds leverage. Leverage builds freedom. If you want to shock everyone, don't aim for dramatic change. Aim for controlled days. Own your mornings. Guard your focus blocks. Eliminate unnecessary time leaks. Repeat for 180 days. That's it. No shortcuts, no reinvention every week. Just structured, protected time applied in one direction. Because 6 months of protected time does something powerful. It removes excuses, and once excuses are gone, growth becomes inevitable. Chapter 3. Strengthen your body. First, if you want to shock everyone in 6 months, strengthen your body. Not for aesthetics, not for approval, not for validation, but for identity. Your body is the most visible evidence of your discipline. It carries your habits, it reflects your standards, it reveals your consistency. You can lie about your plans, you can exaggerate your goals, but you cannot fake physical discipline over time. The body tells the truth. Many people try to reinvent their mindset while neglecting their physiology. They read books, they watch videos, they journal intentions, but they avoid discomfort. And without discomfort, there is no transformation. Physical training is controlled adversity. It teaches you to stay when you want to leave, to push when you want to stop, to repeat when you feel tired. That is not just fitness. That is mental conditioning. When you train your body consistently, something deeper happens. You begin keeping promises to yourself. Every completed workout becomes evidence. Evidence that you show up. Evidence that you endure. Evidence that you don't quit easily. And evidence builds confidence faster than motivation ever could. Think about the psychology behind it. When you wake up early to train, you start your day with a win. When you choose discipline over comfort, you reinforce identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries. You start seeing yourself as someone who executes. That shift changes everything. Most people underestimate the power of physical momentum. They think it's separate from career growth, separate from financial growth, separate from emotional control. It's not. Your physiology affects your psychology. When your posture is stronger, your presence changes. When your energy is higher, your focus sharpens. When your endurance improves, your tolerance for stress expands. Strength is not only muscle, it is resilience. There was a time when I struggled with inconsistency in every area of my life. Projects started and stopped, goals written and abandoned, motivation rising and falling. But when I committed to training 4 days per week, no excuses, something unexpected happened. My discipline in other areas improved automatically. I became less reactive, more structured, more deliberate, because training had built a foundation. It proved that I could do hard things repeatedly. And repetition builds character. 6 months of consistent physical training can dramatically alter how you see yourself. Not because you look different, but because you know what you endured to get there. The soreness, the early mornings, the days you didn't feel like it. Those moments shape identity. If you focus on yourself for 6 months, start with a physical standard. 4 training sessions per week, minimum. No extreme programs, no burnout strategies. Consistency over intensity. Lift weights. Train body weight. Run. Condition. It doesn't matter what you choose. What matters is repetition. You're not chasing perfection. You are building reliability. Your body is a daily reminder of your commitment. If you neglect it, you weaken that reminder. If you strengthen it, you reinforce discipline. Another powerful tool is controlled discomfort. Cold showers, long walks without stimulation, intentional fasting, structured endurance sessions. Not to punish yourself, but to expand your comfort zone. Every time you voluntarily choose discomfort, you increase your tolerance for stress. And high tolerance for stress is a competitive advantage. Most people collapse under pressure because they avoid pressure daily. You will not. You will meet pressure with familiarity because you practice discomfort regularly. And here's something important. Physical discipline improves emotional control. When you are physically trained, your nervous system becomes more regulated. Your breathing is steadier. Your heart rate adapts faster. Your recovery improves. That translates into calmer reactions. Calm is power. People are shocked not only by visible transformation, they are shocked by composure. When you respond slowly instead of reacting instantly, and when you maintain posture instead of shrinking, when your voice stays steady under tension, that presence is built through physical discipline. You cannot meditate your way into resilience without also training your body. The two are connected. 6 months is enough to see visible change, but more importantly, it is enough to feel different. You walk differently. You stand differently. You think differently, because you have evidence that you can endure. Most people wait to feel confident before they act. You build confidence by acting repeatedly. Training is daily proof. Proof that you can handle discomfort. Proof that you can sustain effort. Proof that you can improve gradually. And gradual improvement compounds. If you train 4 times per week for 6 months, that's over 100 sessions, over 100 deliberate acts of self-respect. That is not small, that is transformation. While others complain about energy, you cultivate it. While others avoid effort, you embrace it. While others talk about change, you embody it. This is not about becoming obsessed with appearance. It is about becoming aligned with strength. Strength in posture, strength in routine, strength in mind. Your body becomes a symbol of standards. When you raise your physical standards, your mental standards rise with them. You stop tolerating laziness. You stop negotiating with excuses. You stop identifying with weakness. And once that identity shifts, other changes follow naturally. Better nutrition, better sleep, better decision-making. Because discipline in one domain leaks into others. 6 months from now, if you train consistently, people will notice. But more importantly, you will notice. You will recognize the version of yourself who no longer quits easily. The version who doesn't collapse under pressure. The version who chooses effort over comfort. That is the foundation. You cannot shock everyone with talk. You shock them with visible evidence. And nothing is more visible than a body shaped by discipline. So strengthen your body first. Not because it's trendy, not because it's impressive, but because it is the fastest way to rewrite identity, and identity is what truly changes your life. Train consistently. Endure discomfort. Build reliability. Because when your body becomes strong, your excuses become weak. Chapter 4. Upgrade your mind daily. If strengthening your body builds visible discipline, upgrading your mind builds invisible power. And invisible power is what separates short-term change from permanent transformation. Most people consume information every day, but very few intentionally develop their thinking. There is a difference. Consumption is passive. Development is deliberate. You can scroll for hours and feel mentally busy, but busyness is not growth. If you focus on yourself for 6 months, you must become intentional about what enters your mind. Because your mind is the control center. It shapes your decisions. It filters your emotions. It determines your standards. And most people let it be programmed randomly. News feeds, opinions, arguments, trends, constant input, very little reflection. When your input is chaotic, your output becomes confused. Clarity requires filtration. For the next 6 months, reduce mental junk. That means limiting shallow content, limiting outrage-based media, limiting constant commentary. Not because you're avoiding reality, but because you're protecting depth. Depth requires silence. It requires uninterrupted thought. It requires sustained focus on one idea long enough to understand it. Most people never stay with an idea long enough to master it. They skim, they react, they jump to the next thing. And as a result, their thinking remains surface level. Surface thinking produces average decisions. Average decisions produce predictable lives. If you want to shock everyone in 6 months, upgrade your thinking quality. Start with daily reading. Not random reading, targeted reading. And choose topics aligned with who you want to become. Skill development, psychology, strategy, finance, philosophy. 1 chapter per day, even 10 pages daily compounds. 6 months of daily reading can equal 10 to 15 serious books. That is not just knowledge. That is perspective shift. But reading alone is not enough. You must reflect. After reading, ask, what did I learn? How does this apply to my life? What action does this require? Information without integration becomes clutter. Integration builds leverage. Another powerful habit is writing. Writing forces clarity. When you write, vague thoughts become structured ideas. Confusion becomes visible, and visible confusion can be corrected. Many people believe they need better ideas. They don't. They need clearer thinking. And clarity is trained. 10 minutes of journaling per day can dramatically increase awareness, not emotional venting. Strategic reflection. What worked today? What wasted time? What decision could I improve? 6 months of reflection builds self-knowledge. Self-knowledge builds control. Control builds confidence. There was a period when I felt mentally overwhelmed. Too many ideas, too many goals, too many distractions. I wasn't lacking ambition, I was lacking structure. When I began writing daily, even briefly, something changed. My thinking slowed down. My priorities became obvious. My decisions became sharper, because I was no longer thinking reactively. I was thinking intentionally. Upgrading your mind also means upgrading your environment. Who do you listen to? Who influences your thinking? If you surround yourself, even digitally, with mediocrity, does your standards slowly adjust downward? If you surround yourself with excellence, your expectations rise. Choose inputs that challenge you. Choose content that stretches your understanding. Choose conversations that elevate thinking. This does not mean isolating yourself socially. It means curating influence. Your mind is shaped by repetition. Repeated thoughts become beliefs. Repeated beliefs become actions. Repeated actions become identity. If you repeat shallow inputs, you build shallow identity. If you repeat disciplined inputs, you build disciplined identity. Another critical shift is replacing passive consumption with active creation. Instead of always watching, start building. Instead of always listening, start practicing. Instead of always absorbing, start applying. Creation deepens understanding. When you attempt to explain something, you realize where your gaps are. When you attempt to build something, you see where your weaknesses lie, and those weaknesses become targets for improvement. 6 months of daily mental upgrading creates a new cognitive baseline. You become less reactive, less easily influenced, less distracted by noise, because your thinking is anchored. Anchored thinking produces calm decisions. Calm decisions produce powerful results. Many people think upgrading the mind means collecting more information. It doesn't. It means improving decision quality. Better decisions about time. Better decisions about effort. Better decisions about relationships. If your decisions improve by just 10% daily over 6 months, your trajectory shifts dramatically. And here's something subtle but important. When your thinking deepens, your conversations change. You speak more precisely, you listen more carefully, you respond more thoughtfully. That composure shocks people, not because you are louder, but because you are clearer. Clarity is rare. In a distracted world, deep thinkers stand out. If you focus on yourself for 6 months, dedicate daily time to mental growth. Protect it. No multitasking, no divided attention. Even 1 hour per day of deliberate study and reflection can change your cognitive capacity. While others argue about surface-level topics, you are building frameworks. While others consume entertainment endlessly, you are building insight. While others react emotionally, you are strengthening reasoning. The mind you build in private determines the life you live in public. And when 6 months pass, the difference will not only be visible in your body or your results, it will be visible in your thinking. sharper, calmer, more strategic. That is the power of upgrading your mind daily. Not dramatic, not flashy, but transformational. Because when your thinking improves, everything else follows. Chapter 5. Finish what you start. Most people don't lack ambition, they lack completion. They start with excitement, they begin with motivation, they announce with confidence, but they rarely finish. And nothing destroys self-trust faster than unfinished commitments. If you want to shock everyone in 6 months, become someone who finishes. Not someone who tries, not someone who plans, not someone who talks, someone who completes. There is a psychological shift that happens when you consistently finish what you start. Every completed task becomes internal evidence. Evidence that you are reliable. Evidence that your words mean something. Evidence that you follow through. And self-trust is more powerful than external validation. Think about how many things you've started over the years. Workouts, courses, projects, habits, ideas. So now ask yourself honestly, how many did you finish? Unfinished actions create mental weight. They sit in the background of your mind, draining confidence. Every time you think about them, you feel a subtle reminder, I didn't follow through. Multiply that by years. That is how people slowly lose belief in themselves. Not from failure, from inconsistency. Finishing builds identity. When you complete something difficult, you reinforce a powerful message. I am someone who executes. That message changes posture, it changes tone, it changes energy. Because now you are not hoping to become disciplined, you have proof. For the next 6 months, simplify your focus. Do fewer things. Finish everything. The problem is not that people aim too high. The problem is that they aim in too many directions. Scattered ambition produces unfinished progress. Choose one primary physical goal. Choose one primary skill. Choose one structured mental habit. And commit to finishing the cycle. If it's a 12-week training program, complete all 12 weeks. If it's a certification course, finish it entirely. If it's a 30-day habit challenge, do all 30 days without exception. Completion builds momentum. Momentum builds confidence. Confidence builds consistency. Many people chase novelty. They get bored quickly. They crave something new before mastering what's in front of them. But mastery is boring in the beginning. It requires repetition. It requires staying when it stops being exciting. And that's where most people leave. They mistake boredom for misalignment. It's not misalignment, it's growth. When you stay long enough, boredom transforms into skill. Skill transforms into leverage. Leverage transforms into opportunity. But only if you stay. There was a time when I constantly shifted direction. New goals every few weeks. New strategies every month. I felt productive because I was always planning something new. But my results remained shallow. The turning point came when I committed to one project for 6 months. No pivoting, no reinventing, just refinement. The first month was slow. The second month felt repetitive. By the third month, patterns began to improve. By the 6th month, the skill level had doubled. Not because I discovered something magical, because I didn't quit. Finishing is not glamorous. It's quiet discipline. It's saying no to the next shiny idea. It's resisting the urge to start over. It's staying with the process long enough to extract its value. And if you want to shock everyone, stop chasing intensity. Chase completion. Intensity impresses briefly. Completion transforms permanently. Here's a powerful rule for the next 6 months. No new major commitments until current ones are complete. This forces focus. It forces depth. It forces you to confront the uncomfortable middle. Because the middle is where growth happens. The beginning is exciting. The end is rewarding. The middle is difficult. And most people never survive the middle. They leave when progress feels slow. They leave when validation is absent. They leave when effort outweighs applause. But if you stay, something changes. You become stable, emotionally stable, mentally stable, strategically stable. You stop being driven by mood. You start being driven by commitment. And commitment builds identity. Now, another reason finishing matters is because it creates visible transformation. Anyone can start going to the gym. Few finish 6 consistent months. Anyone can begin learning a skill. Few reach competence through sustained repetition. Anyone can plan a business idea. Few build it long enough to see traction. When you finish, you enter a smaller category of people, the category of executors. And executors shock people, not with talk, with results. Finishing also sharpens your standards. You realize what real effort requires. You understand timelines realistically. You respect the process. And that respect makes you calmer. You stop expecting instant results. You start expecting earned progress. 6 months from now, the difference between you and others will not be intelligence. It will not be luck. It will be completion rate. While others started 5 things and finished none, you finished 3 fully. While others pivoted constantly, you refined patiently. While others quit at the first plateau, you pushed through the middle. Completion compounds. One finished habit leads to another. One finished goal strengthens belief for the next. Self-trust expands. And self-trust is powerful because when you trust yourself, hesitation decreases. You decide faster. You act faster. You recover faster. If you focus on yourself for 6 months, protect your completion rate. Track it. Measure it. Be proud of it. Don't let excitement distract you from finishing. Don't let boredom push you away from mastery. Stay, refine, complete. Because when 6 months pass and people look at you, they won't see someone who tried. They will see someone who followed through. And follow through is rare. Finish what you start, every time. That is how you build a reputation with yourself. And once you build that reputation internally, the external world will eventually notice. Chapter 6. Control your emotions. Before they control you, you can protect your focus, you can reclaim your time, you can strengthen your body, you can upgrade your mind, you can finish what you start. But if you cannot control your emotions, all of it collapses under pressure. Emotional instability destroys long-term consistency. Not because you lack ability, but because you react instead of respond. Most people don't fail from lack of knowledge. They fail from unmanaged emotion, frustration, comparison, impatience, ego, doubt. These emotions quietly sabotage progress. If you want to shock everyone in 6 months, build emotional discipline, not emotional suppression. Discipline. There is a difference. Suppression buries emotion. Discipline observes it. When you feel anger, most people react. They defend, they argue, they escalate. But emotional discipline pauses. It asks, is this worth my energy? Every reaction costs focus. Every argument drains momentum. Every emotional spike disrupts clarity. If you are rebuilding yourself, you cannot afford constant emotional leaks. You must conserve energy for growth. Think about the people who impress you the most. Are they loud and reactive, or calm and composed? Composure signals strength. It shows control. It shows internal stability. When you remain calm in situations where others lose control, people notice, because calm is rare. Emotional control starts with awareness. Notice your triggers. What makes you defensive? What makes you insecure? What makes you impatient? Instead of reacting instantly, build a pause. 5 seconds, 1 deep breath, a deliberate delay. That pause separates discipline from impulse. An impulse is immediate. Discipline is intentional. Over time, that pause becomes habit, and habit becomes identity. Another key to emotional control is detachment from validation. If your mood depends on praise, you will crumble under criticism. If your motivation depends on encouragement, you will stop when ignored. When you focus on yourself for 6 months, detach from applause, work without needing recognition, improve without needing announcement, let results speak later. This protects emotional stability. Because you are no longer performing, you are building. There was a time when criticism would derail my momentum for days. One comment, one doubt, one comparison, and suddenly my focus was gone. Not because the criticism was powerful, because I gave it power. When I began practicing emotional detachment, something changed, and I stopped reacting instantly. I let feedback sit. I responded strategically instead of emotionally. That single shift increased productivity dramatically. Because energy stayed directed. Emotional discipline also means managing internal dialogue. The voice in your head can either support growth or sabotage it. Many people speak to themselves more harshly than anyone else ever could. One mistake becomes identity. One setback becomes failure. But disciplined individuals correct without self-destruction. They say, "That didn't work," not, "I am useless." Language shapes perception. Perception shapes performance. If you want 6 months of focused transformation, protect your internal narrative. Replace emotional exaggeration with objective evaluation. One, not, "Everything is ruined," but "That needs adjustment." Not, "I can't do this," but "This requires improvement." Emotion amplifies. Discipline stabilizes. Another overlooked area of emotional control is comparison. Comparison drains clarity. When you constantly measure your progress against others, your timeline becomes distorted. You rush, you panic, you doubt. But when you measure against your past self, progress becomes visible. 6 months is about internal evolution, not competing with someone else's chapter. When you detach from comparison, your emotional state stabilizes, and stability builds consistency. Pressure will come, obstacles will appear, delays will frustrate you. That is guaranteed. What separates those who shock everyone from those who fade away is emotional resilience. Resilience is not toughness, it is recovery speed. How fast do you return to focus after a setback? How quickly do you regain composure after criticism? How long do you dwell on problems? The faster you recover, the stronger you become. If you spend 3 days emotionally affected by one issue, you lose momentum. If you process it in 30 minutes and adjust, you protect trajectory. Emotional efficiency is power. Here is a simple standard for the next 6 months. No emotional decision-making during intense states. If you are angry, don't decide. If you are overly excited, don't commit. If you are discouraged, don't quit. Wait, stabilize, then act. This single rule can prevent massive mistakes. People are shocked not just by physical change. They are shocked by maturity, by calm responses, by steady presence, by the ability to remain grounded when chaos surrounds them. That presence is built through daily emotional discipline. You train your body in the gym. You train your mind through study. You train your emotions through pause and reflection. All three matter. Without emotional control, discipline becomes fragile. With emotional control, discipline becomes sustainable. 6 months of emotional regulation will change how people experience you. You become less reactive, less dramatic, less easily shaken, and more strategic, more focused, more composed, and composure under pressure is magnetic. It signals power without noise. If you truly want to shock everyone in 6 months, control your emotions before they control you. Because when your emotions stop dictating your behavior, your standards rise. And when your standards rise, your life follows. Calm is power. Master it. Chapter 7. Build a rare skill that pays. If you disappear from distraction, if you reclaim your time, if you strengthen your body, if you upgrade your mind, if you control your emotions, there is one more layer that transforms everything. Build a skill. Not 10 skills. One. One rare, valuable, monetizable skill. Because discipline without direction is wasted potential. Many people improve themselves physically and mentally, but they never channel that improvement into something concrete. They become more motivated, but not more valuable. If you want to shock everyone in 6 months, increase your market value. Not your online presence, your competence. Competence commands respect. Competence creates opportunity. Competence builds leverage, and competence is built through depth. 6 months of scattered learning creates familiarity, and 6 months of focused learning creates mastery. Choose a skill aligned with your future. It could be writing, programming, sales, design, public speaking, trading, marketing, video editing, AI tools, language fluency. It doesn't matter what you choose. What matters is commitment. Most people quit before competence. They practice until it becomes uncomfortable. They stop when they feel average. But competence begins after discomfort, after repetition, after mistakes. If you dedicate 2 focused hours per day to one skill for 6 months, you will accumulate hundreds of hours of practice. Hundreds. That level of repetition shifts you from beginner to capable, from capable to competitive, from competitive to respected. And when competence becomes visible, people are shocked. Not because you changed suddenly, because you developed quietly. There was a young man who worked an ordinary job and felt invisible. He decided to learn digital marketing, not casually, intentionally. Every weekday after work, he studied and practiced for 2 hours. He built small projects. He tested campaigns. He analyzed data. For 3 months, nothing dramatic happened. For 6 months, his understanding deepened. By the end of that period, he had enough skill to freelance. Within a year, his income had doubled, not because of luck, because of focused skill acquisition. Skill beats hype. Skill beats motivation. Skill beats intention. In a distracted world, depth is rare, and rare things are valuable. Building a rare skill also sharpens identity. You stop seeing yourself as trying to improve. You start seeing yourself as someone who produces. Production builds confidence faster than affirmation ever could. When you can deliver results, measurable results, you no longer depend on encouragement. Your competence becomes your security. Another important shift: stop learning endlessly without output. Apply immediately. If you learn writing, write daily. If you learn coding, build projects. If you learn sales, practice conversations. Application accelerates growth. Passive learning slows it. 6 months of daily application will outperform years of occasional study. Because mastery is repetition under pressure, and pressure reveals gaps. When you face difficulty within your skill, you are forced to improve. Improvement builds leverage. Leverage builds freedom. Many people chase money. Few chase skill. Money follows skill. Opportunity follows competence. Respect follows execution. So if you focus on yourself for 6 months and build one rare skill, you increase optionality. New job opportunities, new income streams, new collaborations, new environments. People begin to see you differently. Not because you talk differently, because you produce differently, and production changes perception. There's another psychological advantage to building skill. It anchors focus. When you know what you are building, distractions lose appeal. Scrolling becomes less interesting. Drama becomes less relevant, because your time has value. When you treat your hours as investment into skill, you stop spending them casually. This creates discipline naturally. Skill building also trains patience. You don't become excellent overnight. You refine, you iterate, you correct. That repetition builds emotional resilience. You stop expecting instant results. You respect the process, and respecting the process reduces frustration, which increases consistency, which increases growth. Everything connects. By month 3, you will feel progress. By month 6, others will see it. By month 12, your life may look completely different, but it begins with 6 disciplined months. Choose wisely. Don't choose what is trendy. Choose what aligns with your strengths and long-term direction, then commit. No switching every week, no abandoning at the first plateau. Stay long enough to become dangerous. Dangerous in competence, dangerous in confidence, dangerous in independence. Because when you can create value consistently, you stop chasing validation. You stop needing permission. You stop doubting your worth. Your skill speaks, and when skill speaks, it speaks loudly, without noise. While others argue online, you are refining. While others complain about opportunity, you are creating it. While others wish for better outcomes, you are building better capability. Capability shocks people, because capability changes results, and results are undeniable. If you truly want to shock everyone in 6 months, build something inside you that cannot be taken away. A skill, a capability, a competence that compounds. Because discipline builds structure, but skill builds leverage, and leverage changes lives. Chapter 8. Raise your standards until you're unrecognizable. If you've followed everything up to this point, something has already begun to shift. Your focus is sharper, your time is structured, your body is stronger, your mind is clearer, your emotions are steadier, your skill is improving. But there is one final layer that determines whether all of this becomes temporary progress or permanent transformation. Your standards. Standards decide destiny, not goals, not motivation, not potential. Standards. What you tolerate defines what you become. If you tolerate inconsistency, you become inconsistent. If you tolerate laziness, you become average. If you tolerate excuses, you become predictable. But if you raise your standards, truly raise them, your life begins to reorganize around them. Most people set goals. Very few set standards. And a goal says, I want to get in shape. A standard says, I train 4 times a week no matter what. A goal says, I want more income. A standard says, I develop valuable skills daily. A goal is temporary. A standard is identity. If you want to shock everyone in 6 months, stop chasing goals. Raise your standards. Start with small, non-negotiable rules. You don't skip workouts. You don't break focus blocks. You don't abandon commitments mid-cycle. You don't respond emotionally under pressure. No drama, no announcements, just standards. At first, it will feel strict. You will feel resistance. Because raising standards requires letting go of your old identity, and the old identity will fight back. It will say, you deserve a break. It's not that serious. Everyone else does it. That voice is comfort. Comfort maintains average. Standards create growth. When you raise your standards, you also change your environment. Look around you honestly. What conversations dominate your circle? What habits are normalized? What behaviors are tolerated? If your environment rewards distraction, you will struggle to stay focused. If your environment rewards mediocrity, excellence will feel lonely. Raising standards sometimes requires distance, not hatred, not arrogance. Distance. Distance from habits that weaken you. Distance from conversations that shrink ambition. Distance from environments that reward stagnation. Because standards are influenced by exposure. If you constantly see average behavior, average becomes acceptable. If you constantly see excellence, excellence becomes normal. This is not about judging others. It is about protecting trajectory. 6 months of raised standards can change how people experience you. You stop laughing at excuses. You stop entertaining mediocrity. You stop negotiating with weakness. You become calm, firm, and intentional. People feel that shift, not because you announce it, because you embody it. There is also a subtle but powerful shift that happens when you raise your standards. You become less available for nonsense, less available for drama, less available for time wasting. Not because you are superior, because you are focused. Focus filters priorities, and when your priorities are clear, distractions lose power. Think about the version of yourself 6 months from now. Stronger body, sharpened skill, controlled emotions, structured days. Now ask, would that version tolerate your current excuses? Probably not. So act from that version now. Standards are not future decisions. They are present behaviors. If you expect discipline from yourself, you behave differently today. If you expect excellence from yourself, you prepare differently today. If you expect composure from yourself, you respond differently today. Raising standards is uncomfortable at first because it removes negotiation. It removes the option to quit easily. It removes the emotional justification. But that discomfort becomes normal. And once it becomes normal, growth accelerates. Another important shift: stop seeking external recognition for internal upgrades. When your standards rise, you don't need applause. You don't need people to notice. You don't need validation. Because your satisfaction comes from alignment. Alignment between what you say and what you do. That alignment builds quiet confidence. And in quiet confidence shocks people more than loud ambition ever will. When you walk into a room calmer, when you speak more precisely, when you respond slower but stronger, when your body reflects discipline, when your skill reflects effort, people notice. They may not understand it, but they feel it. Because consistency radiates. And raised standards create consistency. 6 months is enough time to become unrecognizable, not dramatically, not theatrically, subtly, powerfully. You don't need to change everything. You need to stop tolerating what weakens you. Stop tolerating broken routines, late starts, emotional reactions, shallow effort, unfinished work. Replace tolerance with discipline. Replace negotiation with structure. Replace comfort with controlled discomfort. And stay there. While others drift, you stabilize. While others react, you respond. While others complain, you execute. That stability shocks people, because stability is rare. Most people live in cycles of hype and collapse. If you live in consistency and composure, you stand out automatically. Not because you're louder, because you're steadier. If you truly focus on yourself for 6 months, the final shift is simple. Raise your standards so high that your old habits feel uncomfortable. Raise them until average behavior feels foreign. Raise them until discipline feels normal. And when 6 months pass, people may say, "You've changed," and they'll be right. You have. Not because you chased attention, but because you built identity. Not because you talked more, but because you tolerated less. And when you tolerate less from yourself, you become more unrecognizable. Not by accident, by standard. And here's the part most people never talk about. When you raise your standards, you will feel lonely at times. Not because you're better than anyone, but because growth changes alignment. Some conversations won't interest you anymore. Some habits won't entertain you anymore. Some environments will feel smaller than they used to. That is not loss. That is elevation. When your standards rise, your tolerance drops. You no longer accept half effort from yourself. You no longer excuse poor discipline. You no longer romanticize comfort. And the world reacts differently to someone who moves with intention. People test you less. They respect your time more. They sense boundaries without you having to announce them, because standards communicate silently. You don't need to argue your value. You demonstrate it. 6 months of raised standards won't just change how you look or what you earn. It will change how you carry yourself, how you decide, how you respond, how you walk into a room, and that quiet shift, that calm, steady, undeniable presence is what truly shocks everyone. Not noise, not hype. Consistency. 6 months. That's all we've been talking about. Not 10 years, not a lifetime, not some distant, unrealistic transformation. 6 focused months. And now the question is simple. What are you going to do with them? Because time will pass anyway. 6 months from today, the calendar will move forward whether you change or not. The difference is not time. The difference is intention. Over this past hour, we broke down the structure. You disappear from distraction. You reclaim your 180 days. You strengthen your body. You upgrade your mind. You finish what you start. You control your emotions. You build a rare skill. You raise your standards. Not randomly, not emotionally, systematically. This isn't motivation. It's architecture. Most people try to change their lives with emotion. They wait to feel inspired. They wait to feel confident. They wait to feel ready. But confidence is built through repetition. Clarity is built through structure. Power is built through consistency. If you commit to 6 months of disciplined focus, something subtle begins to happen. You stop needing approval. You stop announcing goals. You stop explaining your direction. Because you're too busy building. And the longer you build in silence, the stronger you become. At first, nobody will notice. That's normal. In the first month, progress feels invisible. In the second month, it feels slow. In the third month, you begin to feel different internally. By the fourth month, habits feel natural. By the fifth month, others start sensing a shift. By the sixth month, the difference becomes undeniable. Not because you shouted, but because you stayed. Staying is rare. Most people quit in the middle. They get distracted. They get emotional. They get impatient. But you won't. Because now you understand the blueprint. You understand that transformation is not dramatic. It is disciplined. You understand that attention is expensive, that time is leverage, that physical strength builds mental certainty, that emotional control builds presence, that skill builds opportunity, that standards build identity. 6 months from now, you could still be explaining why nothing worked, or you could be unrecognizable. Stronger posture, sharper thinking, calmer reactions, higher competence, greater self-respect. And here's the most important part. You won't just shock everyone else. You'll shock yourself, because you'll realize something powerful. You were never stuck. You were scattered. You were never incapable. You were inconsistent. You were never unlucky. You were unfocused. Focus fixes more than talent ever could. Discipline unlocks more than motivation ever will. If you take anything from this audiobook, take this. Protect your energy. Protect your time. Protect your standards and apply them daily, not perfectly, but consistently. You don't need to overhaul your entire life tomorrow. Start with the next 72 hours. Day 1, remove one major distraction. Day 2, complete one deep focus block. Day 3, train your body with intention. Build momentum immediately. Then repeat. No announcement, no dramatic declaration, just quiet execution. Let people wonder. Let them question. Let them underestimate. While they watch, you work. While they talk, you build. While they scroll, you strengthen. And when 6 months pass, the results will speak. You will walk differently. You will think differently. You will decide differently. And that difference will be felt. Not because you demanded respect, because you earned it. Remember this: transformation is not about becoming someone else. It's about removing what weakens you, removing distraction, removing inconsistency, removing emotional instability, removing low standards. What remains is strength. What remains is clarity. What remains is discipline. And discipline is attractive. Discipline is powerful. Discipline is rare. 6 months. That's the window. You can waste it, or you can weaponize it. The choice is yours. And when you look back half a year from now, you'll either say, "I wish I'd started," or "I'm glad I did." Choose wisely. Disappear. Build. Return stronger, and shock everyone, including yourself.